Hey, fellow kids! Welcome to the Geekish podcast. Beto and Derek here, talking about some more geeky things this week. Well, kind of geeky. We're talking about words this week. We're using words to talk about words. Anyway, slang is the topic. We got on a discussion about slang words that have come and gone, slang that we still use from our childhood that makes us sound old to kids, things that kids say that make us want to hit our heads against a wall, and words that people say that meant a whole lot. It meant something very, very different many years ago. So we're talking all about slang today.
Right. In TFW, we might sip some tea here and, don't wig out, but you might have a big yikes, fam.
If I was sitting next to you, I would so start throwing things at your face. Well, I got some of this because this conversation got started, I think, because of the new term of when people have something, the drip. It's a fairly common slang use now. And when I was younger, the drip was chlamydia. It was an STD. But now drip is like super sexy style. You've got swag. You're super like when you're talking about somebody's fashion or things they've got. It's beast, boss, baller, wicked, sick, all accurate or synonyms for it. Like if somebody said I was the drip, I would think it was an insult.
Well, see, and like what I'm thinking of is like the drip is how I've always thought it was like you're lame. Because that's how it was used in some 80s movies. Like, oh, that guy's the drip. I mean, it's like 50s slang, 60s slang, something like that. Like, don't be such a drip. Yeah. It's funny how things evolve because, especially with, yes, I unfortunately fall under the dreaded millennial term, and I think you're right on the cusp of Gen X and millennial, depending on which thing you go to. So I mean, we all grew up with our slang, which, even still, our parents are like, "What are you talking about?" So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put that high horse because we had a lot of really crappy slang that our generations came up with too. So even if we bash the new slang, let it be known that we have plenty of words that I'm embarrassed about from my generation too.
Yeah, it's I'm not saying ours was better. I'm just saying like it's funny how things kind of had a glow up. We'll use some.
Aha! Zing.
We'll use some of that. I mean, but some of it is just so stupid because, like.
Well, another one you talk about things change, and one of the big ones is goat. Goat is like super common everywhere now. You hear everybody uses the term goat as the greatest of all time, Super Bowl champions, blah blah blah. But it's not anything new. People have been saying goat for a long time, but it just became super popular recently. But the part that baffles my mind is when I grew up, goat did not mean greatest of all time. Goat was short for the scapegoat, or the person that you blamed it on if your team lost, or the one that was the weak link that did something wrong to screw over the rest of the team. If you were the goat, you were like the black sheep for some more terms of it. But now when I hear goat on my head, oh wait, you mean the good goat, right? Check.
Man, you're such a good goat.
Good goat.
Good goat. I don't know. I know. So, I mean, we had what? Well, I guess we didn't really have. It was kind of before us, but like, oh man, that's boss, right? And now it's evolved into CEO apparently. And I guarantee you there's going to be some Gen Zs or some people who use the nowadays slang. They're using it wrong or they're saying wrong or I've never heard of that. You got to keep in mind, we had to Google some of these.
Most of them.
Yeah, because what brought this up is I'm sitting here like, we were scrolling through like TikTok videos and Reels on Instagram and somebody made a video making fun of like how Gen Z breaks up and they just dropped all these terms and I looked at my wife, I was like, what? So that's kind of what I was like, dude, we got to talk about this. Because I mean now CEO means that they are the very best at it or have mastered it. It's kind of, like boss was back in the day or goat kind of now. One that is not new-ish, but the T. I remember when I kept hearing people going, oh yeah, give me the T. And I was like, what does that mean? I had to flat out ask because I was working in an environment with a whole bunch of the youngers and the youths. And I was like, what does the T mean? They're like, oh, you like spilling the tea? I'm like, no, what? And they're like, oh yeah, it's gossip. I was like, okay. Like, why do we have to have codes for it? And if
Yeah,
everyone's gonna know
like
it anyway?
spilling the tea, but because that makes sense. Because that's what what are we talking about? Like, can we just that the tea one kind of bothers me a little bit.
I saw it. I could tell.
I know. I know people still use it, but it and the fact that I've heard a lot of my wife's a middle school teacher, so I get some different definitions from people and the people I talk to, and I've heard very, very, very different descriptions of what the origin of what's the tea is and how it's used, like contradictorily so that it makes my head hurt a little bit. Because the whole idea of slang is that it's a shared meaning of stuff, and that's why when people get a lot of the language purists get all upset because words are changing or new meanings come around, but the evolution of language basically says that language will change and evolve, and as long as there's a common shared meaning, it works, it does its thing, whatever, no big deal. I mean, 80 years ago, if you wanted to told somebody that they were looking cool, I have no idea what you're talking about. But you say that now, even though cool is not a popular slang term anymore, if you say something's cool, most people will still grasp what you're getting at, which is the whole shared meaning from it. And a lot of the new slang, it comes and goes so fast, like there's entire websites dedicated to TikTok slang. And thanks to TikTok, it's making a lot of these slang terms and slang words get used by a lot more people a lot faster, but it also means they disappear a lot faster too. My case in point for that one is yeet.
Yeet! That still gets used.
It still gets used, but it's on the downside. Most of the time when I hear yeet now, it's somebody trying to use yeet as making fun of using the term yeet.
Oh, man. You're making fun of me then. Well, what's funny, too, is, like, I remember when I first started hearing yeet, I had to ask, and that one right there, they're like, oh, yeah, yeet means, like, you know, cool or something like that. And then they gave me another term, and they gave me another term. I'm like, wait, which one is it? Mm-hmm. So is it, like, you know, there, and there, all depends on how you're going to use it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure yeet depends on your inflection and the context you're using as to what it actually means.
Right.
It hurts my brain. And as much as, Karen was the word of the year last year, and everyone that was actually named Karen, I feel is terribly bad for. But there's a new one that's a much nicer one. A heather. You know what heather is?
No, what's a heather?
Apparently, if a girl is super, super desirable or attractive, she's now a heather.
All right. I mean, that might make some people feel salty.
Quite possibly so. Quite possibly so.
But, it's going to make everybody named Heather feel very bougie.
Bougie? Oh, God, what's that?
That one is a term that you could use to describe someone who is fancy and likes extravagant things.
Oh, okay. I did poll the wife with some of the words that the middle schoolers using now, because that's how I can ground myself in what's coming into the world.
Okay, before you get into that, real quick.
Okay.
This one bothers me because this is like a 25 Gen Z terms you should know, whatever. One of them on here is a whip, right? Which is a car.
A whip is a car?
Yeah. Dude, I remember they were calling whips cars, or cars whips, back in like the early 2000s. So Gen Z did not come up with this one. I want to ride that whip. I'm just saying. They can't have that one. Anyway.
I never heard this term in my life.
Yeah.
You say whip, I'm thinking of Devo and Licorice and Cowboys and S&M.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so on some of the ones on our list, if something is boostin' or boostin'.
Bussin'?
You know what that is?
What?
It's really good. It's cool. It's great. It's amazing. If it's bussin', it's really great. Cap and no cap. This one, yeah,
is that just like what the Avengers were and then they weren't?
No. Let me get the actual definition here. I had it written down, but I can't find it now. But this one's actually very popular with younger ones and TikTok and things like that. And no cap is no lie or for real.
Oh, really? No cap?
Yeah.
What? See, why do they have to like complicate things? Because like for real? For real. I mean, because you could just say that with different inflections, and it means totally different things.
Yeah, and when we were, I mean, it's still the slang term, I think, too, is it? Because when we were younger, a cap was all about bullets, right?
Right.
You were going to pop a cap. You were going to bust a cap. Someone's going to get capped.
Yep.
So if you're getting capped to, are you getting lied to, or are you getting murdered?
I mean...
Or are you going to cap somebody for giving you the cap? Or no, cap somebody for not giving you the cap because there was no cap because... I'm going to get myself confused.
I mean, you're confusing me, but that's not hard to do.
See some other ones that were on there. That's so extra.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one's kind of been around for a while.
Yeah, and that one's kind of... for some reason, the ones that are self-explanatory, like you hear it, you're like, oh, it's just changing some words around. It seems to make sense. Same thing with I'm dead. Something is funny. I'm dead. It's you're so funny you died. Okay, whatever. It's
yeah, but what's funny is when they're pretty self-explanatory, they don't seem to be as popular anymore. Because like you could say them, and that's when they look at you like, "Are you trying to be like us?" Mm-hmm. And you're like, "No."
I feel like there was a whole set of slang and jargon that went along with the whole Visco girl phenomenon.
Oh yeah,
which kind of. If you're listening and you identify yourself as a Visco girl and you're super proud of it, I apologize. But everything I've read know about the whole idea of Visco girl embodied everything that I absolutely hated about the stuck-up, pretty popular crowd in my high school. That it just God, I got to change the subject. Spoopy, another one that kind of came and went.
Yeah, but that one's still pretty popular. Like, especially around Halloween, you'll start seeing spoopy stuff pop up. I had to ask about that one, too, because I was like, are you saying spoopy? Yep. I was like, okay, cool, cool. What does it mean?
Yeah. Spoopy meant something different back in my day. I'm not even sure how to say this one, but it's like icky, iyky, IYKIY. It's slang for if you know, you know. So if you're type of somebody like, oh, if you were at the party last weekend, oh, icky.
They actually say it?
Do you I don't know. Possibly. But do we really need slang to tell somebody that they didn't know what was going on? Like, hey, if you weren't at the party last weekend, icky. Like, well, I wasn't, so obviously I don't know what's going on. Now I'm even further confused.
What's funny is while you're looking at that, I'm looking at 50 vintage slang terms that need to be brought back. And I just saw this one that's called, it says, arf, arf, and arf.
You broke up a little bit there for me, but you said arf and arf and arf? Is that the...
I didn't break up. Yeah, that's what I said. Arf and arf and arf.
Okay.
Loosely translated, it's a British term that gives another word for being embarrassingly intoxicated.
Oh, I like that. Arf and arf and arf.
Yep.
So I think it would be, one step beyond intoxicated to like your body trying to get you not intoxicated anymore in the bathroom. Arf. Arf and arf and arf and arf.
Maybe that's where it came from. I don't know.
There was also a new one she said too that I am baffled that we need a slang term for, but it's a gesture. And she showed me, I'm like, what? And she basically did this. And if you can see the video, you can kind of tell what that is. But the best I can explain it is if you remember playing paper triangle football, you kind of make the wide goalposts for paper triangle football. Put your index fingers together, thumbs up, and put them apart.
Is this the and apparently one?
It's supposed to be I'm shy.
Oh, I'm shy.
Like, do we need a symbol to say I'm shy? And in the fact, if you're telling somebody with the symbol that you're shy, doesn't that mean that you're not being shy? Because if you're really shy, you would be pretending they don't exist. That'd be like somebody coming up to a bar and be like, excuse me, I'm really horrible at talking to new people. How are you doing? Just doesn't compute.
Hi.
And sheesh is one that is big with the middle schoolers right now. But not just sheesh. You have to say it with a really loud inflection like sheesh. Sheesh.
I was going to say, sheesh was something I gave to my parents a lot when they were asking me to do the chores, and I gave them a lip, and I was like, calm down, sheesh.
Yeah. But sheesh is now you're super excited about something. So if any little ones ever walk by and they say sheesh really loud, it means they're excited about
I was
something.
gonna say, I'm pretty sure my 1.5-year-old says something along those lines, but that's just because he can't really say full words. So maybe that's where that came from.
And sus is another one that's probably, I would say sus is one of the biggest actual slang words that come from them in the recent years.
And sus makes sense, though.
Short for suspect.
Yep.
I mean, that's what slang's supposed to be, right? Make
And
things easier to say.
I think for that one, we have to thank Among Us. For hugely just making that one as popular as it is. But
I feel really bad too, because I look through some of the lists. There's this one from Best Life. It's the slangs from the 20th century that nobody uses anymore. I still use a lot of them. I mean, cruising for a bruisin's on there. That was the 50s version of your face is just begging to be punched. And cruising for a bruising, that's still made in the shade. If you've got a new job, you're made in the shade, but apparently that's not a thing anymore. Burn rubber. When you peel out your tires, go super fast, you burn rubber. It's not what you say anymore. Your pad is where you live. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I called this my pad in a meeting 2 days ago. Am I 20th century out? Am I an antique now?
No.
Ankle biters?
No. Well, I mean, especially like this is a term that I don't know if it's like popular, but when you're like finishing something and you sitting there, of course the chug, but then like my wife is sitting there like she's like, "Oh, can I finish your soda or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can cork it." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, just cork it." She's like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Just finish it." Sorry. So I, that might be something that's not widely known, but that's a weird saying I have.
But how? We still have wine.
All right.
I mean, come on. I mean, far out is retired. Bummer retired. I say bummer.
I was gonna say I say bummer. The only time I ever say far out is like it's far out there.
What's your bag? Can you dig it? Your freak flag, hang loose, the fuzz, lay it on me. It's heavy.
I'm pretty sure I said lay it on me not too long ago. Somebody said something that I can't ask you questions like, yeah, lay it on me.
Don't be square. You're a goober.
Dude, I say you're a goober on a daily basis. That's
welcome to retirement. Shindig. I called my New Year's get together my shindig.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure everything that you've had has been a shindig.
5-finger discount. Stealing? Anyone? Do me a solid. Boogie down. Psych.
Dude, I still say psych.
That was like the thing to do in middle school. Is no matter what you said, you could cover your butt just saying psych.
What about?
Oh, you were lying.
What about swing? Get that one.
Yeah, I still use that one. That one will never retire. Spaz, cool beans, 10-4, good buddy. Take a chill pills.
I say cool
cadet,
beans constantly.
Out to lunch.
Oh,
the skinny to the max. Get bent. Chrome dome. Keep on keeping on. Gag me with a spoon. Gnarly.
Are you just reading the
Don't have a cow.
Are you reading the screenplay from well, my God, Clueless right now?
Not even. Grody, tubular, grindage. Stoked, rad. This is like my. These are the words I use, and they're left behind in the last century. They say.
Squeeze in the juice.
All right, so I've got a quiz for you. I've got some of this list up here of some of the TikTok dictionary that somebody's put together, and this was because a lot of parents try to keep up lists of these things to make sure they know kind of what their kids are talking about. This is from Axis, and it's the ultimate guide to TikTok slang for 2021. So I'm gonna pick some random ones off here for you and just see how with it you are. Okay.
You know what's funny is. Now they have blogs and stuff for these. Back in our day, I'm pretty sure there was what are your kids secretly saying tonight at 10? You know, and that's when the parents had to learn it.
All right. If something lives in your mind rent free, what's it do?
Oh man, it's constantly in there. You know how many songs are in my head rent free? It's just living in there constantly. I can't get rid of it.
I think it comes from the radio days. I'm the same way too. I literally have 3 songs in my head right now, but I had no idea the slang term existed for that.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, man,
No.
see, I'm hip on that one. I know that one.
Okay. What is a period? Spelled period with a T at the end. Period. Period.
That one I don't know.
It's another word for facts or T. Usually end a sentence. The example they give is he's a simp. Period. Period. I want to know how to say that. I have to look that up too. That's how lame I am.
Oh my God. How do you say?
What is a pick-me girl?
Pick me girl? Mm-hmm. Like pick me? Mm-hmm. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yeah. The girl that tries to impress guys by acting like they're not like other girls.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Shade's fairly easy. That one's it's throwing shade on somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're not going to say some of those. We can't say those on the air. This gets rebroadcast on a radio station.
Yeah, don't say some of them, man. They don't. Yeah.
Vibe check is a big thing. What's a granola girl?
That is like a not a vegan, but like, you know, like a hippie.
Yeah, good job. Better than I did.
Okay, here I got one for you. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna go back in time. Here is some slang from the Dictionary of American Slang, the 1967 edition.
Okay.
Okay. John Hollowlegs.
That's the slang is John Hollowlegs?
Yes, sir.
Is that somebody that can drink a lot?
Close. It's a hungry man.
Oh, a hungry man. Okay.
How about a lobbygow?
Lobbygow.
Yes, sir.
Some sort of bird?
One who loafs around an opium den in hopes of being offered a free pipe.
That was on the tip of my tongue. That was my next guess.
Hey, this is something we've all had. The zings.
Kidney stone?
Nope, a hangover. And usually when you get the zings, you want to cluck and grunt. That's eggs and ham.
That was...
How about some high wine? That's a mixture of grain alcohol and Coca-Cola.
A rum and coke is high wine? I'm going to go to a bar and ask for that now. Excuse me, sir. Could I have another one of those fine high wines?
What about, okay, well, I'll end it with these two. What about a wet sock?
That's somebody that's just like lame, right?
A limp, flaccid handshake. And then last, because, I don't know, there's too many of them. What about...
Man, that guy really gave me a wet sock with his hand.
Right? What about a gazoozle?
A gazoozle.
Yes.
Pretty sure that was an enemy in one of my kids' iPad games. But
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It means to cheat.
gazoozle.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh my God. If you ever have time, just Google like slang terms, especially from like the medieval ages, the early 1900s. There is so much fun words that we need to bring back.
yes. I have a whole list hanging on my office that is words that are from like the 1800s that I think need to make a comeback. Gadzooks.
We need to make those words chill again. You know what I mean, fam?
Another one that was popular, I almost forgot about, was bet.
Oh yeah, bet.
Which is another that's kind of short. It just takes part of it off. It's if you want to make plans with somebody, say bet. Like I don't know why we can't just say yes or you bet, but bet works, I guess.
Well, and here's the thing: is like even that one could have different meanings on the inflection. Because I mean, like, oh man, you were gonna fight that. You weren't gonna do that. Bet. Like you better believe it. I'm like okay. I mean, you do you, bro. You do you.
It is fun though. Like not only does it like you feel like you can know kind of what you're talking about when you do talk to people that are from younger generations, because let's be honest, we all did it too. When you're young, you use slang for everything. So knowing at least a little bit that's on there, they're more than happy to give you the actual definition most of the time. And it is fun when you're wasting time to go search things up and see what they actually mean, where they came from. We can't discuss the meanings of them right now, but one of the favorite things that we've accustomed is we play a bunch of games like Cards Against Humanity and stuff like that. And my house rule is anybody that needs to ask what something is, we have to look it up on Urban Dictionary, and they have to read at least one definition out loud to the group.
That is
loads of fun.
I was gonna say that's a totally different podcast. That's Get Geekish After Dark.
Let's get geekish. No children out of the parents under 17 years old.
Yeah. That's a totally different time.
But I guess you've heard us talk about slang for half an hour or so, and hopefully you learned something. If not, go look up an Urban Dictionary and learn something for yourself. But
you know what I learned?
What's that?
I learned how my parents felt when they would use the words unironically when I was younger. Because I've said some of these and I've gotten looks at from people and I'm like, and they're like, did you just, what? I'm like, bet. I'm a head out.
Yes. I'm okay with being old and lame. It's okay. But what are some of your favorite new slang words that have come out? Because we can all come up with lists of ones that we hate and we think are ridiculous, but what's a slang word that you have picked up on that you actually use or think that more people should use? Let us know in the comments at Get Geekish, or go to the website, go to the podcast, any of the social media channels, jump on the conversation, and we'd like to hear from you.
Hashtag just saying.
Is that cool anymore? Is that still cool?
I don't know. I still say it, so... Probably not.
I mean, that's been around for a long time. I see all these old phones around that have hashtags on them. Hey, slang words. They're always changing, and they're always a little bit ridiculous. Thanks for listening. We'll talk at you next week.